Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahapushai, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahapushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson. I'm going to start it off with an article from RT.com titled, Trump Claims His Victory Prevented World War III. A Kamala Harris administration would have sparked a global conflict within a year, the U.S. president has claimed. U.S. President Donald Trump has argued that his electoral victory was critical in preventing World War III. He has claimed that if former Vice President Kamala Harris had been elected last November, a global conflict would have arisen within a year. And whether old legs up Harris was elected or not, and hey, with Donald Trump being president and all the moves he's making, World War III is going to happen regardless, and it's all a part of biblical prophecy. This is Revelation chapter 9, verse 12. One woe or destruction is past, referring to World War I. And behold, there come two woes more hereafter. World War II, which is past, and World War III, which is quickly coming upon us. And like I just said, with the way Trump's moving, he could very well be that cruel Lord in Isaiah chapter 19. And you know, that president, the last president, as some people have been referring to him as, that leads the United States of America directly into World War III. And there's nothing he or anybody else can do to avert biblical prophecy from coming to its fulfillment. So, you know, to you Trumpers and MAGA forevers or whoever out there, you know, the Kool-Aid for a lot of you is quickly wearing off. You're seeing Trump is not, you know, in your best interests, and you're starting to complain. So there will be no Make America Great Again or anything like that. America is destined for World War III and ultimately destined for destruction. But let's read a little more of this article. There's no profit for anyone in having World War III, and you're not so far away from it, Trump told the audience. And he was truthful in that statement. We are not far away from World War III, that third woe taking place. Just look at the state of the world. All these last few prophecies, you know, before the end of this age of the heathens are in the process of taking place as we speak. And the linchpin we're waiting for, which is really going to kick off World War III and the nukes, is the mandatory implementation of the MARKOFTHEBEAST in Revelation 13, verses 16 to 18, which is the micro C-hip implant, you know, in the hand or in the forehead. And who does Donald Trump happen to have in his administration? You know, his assistant president, Elon Musk, who's dealing with Neuralink, which plays into the mark in the forehead. If we would have had this administration for another year, you would have been in World War III, and now it's not going to happen. I'm going to just read this last paragraph, which will lead me to my next article. Earlier this week, senior officials from Russia and the U.S. met in Saudi Arabia to discuss repairing relations which were strained under Biden. Trump commended Riyadh's role in facilitating the talks, calling them highly successful and reinforcing his administration's efforts to tackle the Ukraine crisis. And, you know, Trump is touting that he's, you know, talked to Putin, and relationships between Russia and the U.S. are finally back on track. But hey, that's also not a part of biblical prophecy, because the two main combatants during World War III are going to be the U.S. and Russia. And while you've got Trump's administration touting how productive their talks with Russia have been, Let's see what this article on foxnews.com has to say. Russia says U.S. relations on the brink of breakup, won't confirm Trump-Putin talk. The Kremlin says Ukraine must cede occupied territory and vow not to join NATO. Russian President Vladimir Putin's regime suggested relations between Washington, D.C. and Moscow are on the brink of collapse this week. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov made the announcement during a Monday press conference. Ryabkov reiterated Putin's stance that there would be no peace in Ukraine unless the country dropped its ambiguous ambitions to join NATO and ceded Russian-occupied regions. We simply imperatively need to get the new U.S. administration to understand and acknowledge that without resolving the problems that are the root causes of the crisis in Ukraine, it will not be possible to reach an agreement, Ryabkov said. While President Donald Trump said on Sunday that he has spoken to Putin, spokesman for the Russian leader declined to confirm the call this week. So you hear one story on this end and another story on that end. There's a lot of, subterfuge and the so-called fog of war out here. But when you have an understanding of the scriptures, regardless of whatever you see these people say, which everybody's a puppet to the Most High's will, when you understand biblical prophecy, you know what the end game is. So, whether, Putin and Trump are having talks or, relations between the U.S. and Russia are warming up, hey, it's not the will for there to be peace in these coming days. This is Proverbs 21, Proverbs 21, verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, or the king's mind. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whichsoever he will. So, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is moving everybody in place for that third woe to take place. And like I said earlier, nothing will happen to avert that war or these biblical prophecies from coming to their fulfillment. This is Isaiah 55, verse 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. And the mouth of the Lord is the prophets, out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this. And if the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is dealing with you at this point, you should be able to see without a shadow of a doubt that the Lord has rested his tabernacle on GMS, or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers coming in the spirit of GMS, because everything our apostles and elders have been saying, since they hit YouTube in 2007 all the way until now in 2025 is coming to pass. And what World War III is going to culminate and end in is nuclear missiles being fired to the ends of the earth. Which brings me to my last article on the IrishStar.com. Chilling map shows where 75% will die in World War III. Nuclear attack as Chernobyl bombed. A Cold War era map has resurfaced that predicted the regions of the U.S. where 75% of people would die in a terrifying World War III nuclear attack simulation. And, during the Cold War, who are the two main combatants? The United States and the Soviet Union, Russia. And as it says in Ezekiel chapter 38, speaking of Gog or Russia, I will put hooks in thy jaws and turn thee back. The Lord is putting those Russian Edomites back into that old confrontational Soviet Union spirit. Hence why you see their war in Ukraine, their military and economic ambitions in the Arctic and in other nations, and the setting up of BRICS, an alternative to, the Western financial hegemony. And then you've got these Cold War era maps resurfacing, talking about the major destruction that would be caused to the U.S. During a nuclear strike, during, a hypothetical World War III. And again, according to biblical prophecy, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. And the U.S. and Russia are going to be the two main combatants during World War III. A chilling map from the Cold War era has resurfaced, predicting the areas of the U.S. where 75% of the population would perish in a hypothetical World War III nuclear strike. And I'll tell you this right now, spoilers, according to prophecy, unless you are of, the 1/3 of the elect of the nation of Israel, the nation of Israel consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as, the Israelite foreigners who look like these heathens that are in America when these nukes strike, you're not going to make it. 75% ain't going to make it, 25, 5%, 0.00%. Everybody is going to become fuel for the fire when nuclear missiles hit America. The map's reappearance comes amidst growing nuclear concerns following a Russian drone attack on Ukraine's Chernobyl power plant, the site of the worst nuclear meltdown in history in 1986. And, that's interesting that, this map just, reappeared, even though, the Cold War's been over for decades at this point, with that, so-called nuclear threat that was looming during it subsiding. But we're living in the times where that threat is becoming more pronounced, because it wasn't during the Cold War that World War III and nukes were going to be fired. It was during the times that we're currently living in, which, brings me to Habakkuk chapter 2. I'm going to read verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall accomplish that which I please. The Cold War wasn't the appointed time. Now we're living in the appointed time where at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And that nuclear World War III simulation map showing devastating destruction to America resurfacing now in 2025, showing that these prophecies are not tarrying, but hey, they're quickly coming to their fulfillment. The map illustrates a theoretical nuclear assault by Russia on U.S. soil, suggesting that up to 75% of residents in the hardest hit fallout zones would not survive. Nuclear-armed nations currently include the U.S., the U.K., France, Russia, and China, with Pakistan, India, and North Korea boasting nuclear capabilities. Israel is believed to possess nuclear weapons, though it has never publicly acknowledged this, while Iran continues to run a significant uranium enrichment program. And, these nations mentioned, the majority of them, if not all of them, will end up shooting nuclear missiles onto America, along with Russia and China, because America's own allies are going to turn against her at some point during World War III. Which brings me to Jeremiah chapter 50. I'm going to start at verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, the virgin daughter of Babylon, Babylon the Great, the United States of America, an assembly of great nations from the north country being Russia, because Russia is north of the U.S. And it's, you can look it up. Russia shooting missiles from itself across the north, across that Arctic Ocean region to reach the U.S. would be the shortest trajectory time for those missiles to reach the U.S. And also, over the last couple of years, Russia has been building up its military capabilities, nuclear included, in that Arctic Ocean region. And that assembly of great nations to the North Country are not just Russia's allies like China, or North Korea, or Iran, which, Iran is going to get a bomb, but also America's own allies, which are going to turn against her. Remember, it mentioned that the UK and France are nuclear capable. When we jump down to Jeremiah 50 verse 12, it says, "Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed." And what did the 13 colonies come out of? Britain, the UK. So the mother of the whore, mama whore of Babylon is, Britain. So your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. And, be a part of that assembly of nations unto the North Country that are going to shoot missiles onto you. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. And, what was America referred to, when those European colonizers came over here? The third part of the world, the new world, the ends of the earth, the hindermost of the nations. And as it said, it shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. And what's going to do that? Nuclear missiles hitting this place. Because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited. Hey, so much for 75% of the U.S. population, what to say? So, so much for, the other, 25% of the U.S. population surviving a nuclear strike. Because as we just read, because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. So outside of the elect of Israel that are in America, that includes the wicked of our people, nobody is going to survive this nuclear strike. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, that assembly of nations unto the North Country. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against Yahweh. Back up in Jeremiah 50 verse 9. And they shall set themselves in array against her round about. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. And those arrows are symbolic for those nuclear missiles, because, missiles look like arrows. And when the prophets saw these visions thousands of years ago, they weren't going to say a Satan II or a Minuteman III nuclear missile. They had to describe it, the best way they could. Well, what they had at their time. Bows and arrows, spears and swords, etc., etc. In 1986, scientists William Daughtry, Barbara Levi, and Frank von Hippel from the Institute of Medicine published a study exploring the potential impacts of a nuclear attack on the continental United States. They hypothesized an enemy strike on U.S. nuclear storage facilities, including direct hits on silos housing the Minuteman missiles, America's first land-based nukes developed in the 1950s, causing them to detonate on site. A coordinated attack of this nature would spread radiation across the U.S., with the map showing how radioactive fallout would be transported by west to east winds, reports the Express U.S. And, those silos are going to get hit and add to the destruction. And, while America is going to get some missiles out, a lot of those missiles are going to malfunction. And a lot of those anti-missile defense systems are going to malfunction as well, to leave America wide open like a whore on prom night. Which brings me to Joel chapter 2. No, wait, I'm going to get Psalms 58 first. This is Psalms chapter 58. I'm I'm going to start at verse 3, but the header reads, prayer for the punishment of the wicked, and the wicked according to the scriptures, the border of wickedness in Malachi 1 verse 4, and the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job chapter 9 verse 24 are the biblical Edomites, or you so-called white people. Who are these? Who includes these Americans that run Babylon? The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. So you Edomites are wicked from the womb. The ultimate can't get right. Hence, why your whole society is built on everything clean contrary to the scriptures and righteousness. But now I'm going to jump down to verse 6. Break their teeth, O power, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Yahweh. And you know the teeth are a lion's main weapons. So what's this talking about? The weapons of the wicked. And the main weapons of these Edomites are these nuclear missiles. And as it said, break their teeth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions. Let them melt away as waters which run continually. When he bendeth his bow to shoot his arrows, shooting those missiles from those silos, which they said the Minuteman III, are ground-based, nuclear weapons. Let them be as cut in pieces, the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, causing, those silos to malfunction and keep those missiles from firing. And then what? Allowing them to be wide open to get hit by those Russian and other nations' nuclear missiles, which, as we read in that article, said, those could be a major target that could just lead to that much of a greater destruction and nuclear fallout in this country. And, I've done videos in the past showing how over U.S. as well as Russian nuclear facilities, so-called UFOs, which are really the chariots or the heavenly vehicles of the Lord, have been spotted over them and turned on the nuclear launch sequence. And before it hit zero, they turned them off and disappeared, just showing how much in control Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai is in everything. Again, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall accomplish that which I please, and shall not return unto me void. But now I'm going to go to Joel chapter 2, start at verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong, speaking of these nuclear weapons. There hath not been ever the like, because they came about very recently, beginning with those 2 atomic bombs dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima during that second woe, World War II. Neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations, because when these nations go to shoot their missiles, every single one is going to be fired. And then after the dust settles, Yahweh Shai and the 144,000 of the elect of the nation of Israel are going to begin enslaving the remaining heathens, beginning with the elites and, Abarat Zam of that number. We're never going to allow you to build weapons of war anymore. Verse 3, a fire devoureth before them, that warhead at the front of the missile, and behind them a flame burneth, the rocket booster at the back. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them. You have cities and parks and people and animals and life going on as you know it. And behind them a desolate wilderness. Yeah, and nothing shall escape them. Turned into something out of Fallout or Mad Max. And remember what we read back in Jeremiah chapter 50. The land shall be made desolate and uninhabitable, a wasteland. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of the flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. These people getting burnt to a crisp by these nuclear missiles. Here's the main point I wanted to get to. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, because the Spirit of the Lord is going to be on those missiles as well, guiding them to their targets without any problems. And neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk everyone in his path, and when they shall fall upon the sword, which goes into these anti-missile defense systems, they shall not be wounded. Like I said also, the Lord is going to cause America's anti-missile defense systems to fail, to leave her wide open, and, cause, a lot of those missiles to fail as well and stay in those silos. So they're bigger targets to cause bigger destruction. Remember, when he goeth to bend at the bow and shoot his arrow, he shall be cut in pieces and break the teeth of the lions, O Yahweh. A coordinated attack of this nature would spread radiation across the U.S., with the map showing how radioactive fallout would be transported by east to west winds, reports the Express U.S. Here's a map of, patterns of the radioactive wind, which, you Americans won't have to worry much about that because, hey, this land's going to become completely uninhabited. The academics have sketched out a harrowing picture as reported by the Mirror. We have made the usual assumption that each of the 1,116 U.S. missile silos and missile launch control centers would be struck by two 0.5 megaton warheads. At the height of the Cold War, the Soviet Union had around 3,000 such warheads at its disposal. The map they created shows blackened areas where radiation levels would exceed 3,500 rads, a lethal dose. In these zones, the academics starkly stated, within this region, more than 3/4 of the population would die. They elaborated on the devastating chain of events, saying, nuclear explosions created a great deal of short-lived radioactivity, mostly associated with fission products. We have made the standard assumption in our calculations that 1/2 of the yield from the attacking weapons would be from fission. But that's it with that article. But hey, it's also a part of biblical prophecy that a lot of you people are going to die from fallout and nuclear radiation. If you're not of the elect in America, you're cooked. But, missiles are going to be shot to other countries as well. And you people that survive that, a lot of you are going to have to worry about that radiation and fallout. This is Revelation chapter 8. I'm going to read verses 10 to 11. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, speaking of those nuclear missiles. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And, everywhere you Edomites dwell are going to be hit by nuclear missiles. It's just that the United States of America and the land of Israel are going to be completely, wiped out. But the land of Israel is going to be rebuilt and re-inhabited by its true heirs. But as for America, it's going to remain desolate and uninhabited. And, in the scriptures, you've got three parts of men. You've got the sons of the righteous, or the sons of God, the children of Israel. The second part, the sons of men, who are these other heathen nations like your so-called Chinese or Moabites, the so-called Africans or Hamites, etc., etc. And then you've got that third part, the sons of the wicked, you Edomites. So, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called wormwood, which means bitter. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. These people in these other countries dying from fallout and nuclear radiation. And, you try to go drink that water, and, you won't need a gigacalor to see how irradiated it is. You go to try to, drink it, you're going to fall on your back and curl up like a roach that just got hit with some Raid spray. But I'm going to go back to Jeremiah chapter 50. I'm going to jump to verse 41. Because like I've been saying throughout the video, there will not be peace. And the only thing on the forecast is war and nuclear fire coming from the sky. And nothing will happen to avert biblical prophecy from coming to its fulfillment. And America and Russia are going to be the two main combatants in World War III. Behold, a people shall come from the north country, Russia, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth, from the ends of the earth, that assembly of nations under Russia, America's own allies as well as America's other enemies. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not shew mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. Speaking of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, this is speaking of that daughter of Babylon. America, which is, synonymous with you Edomites, which when you read Psalms 137, verses 7 to 9, it says you Edomites are the daughter of Babylon. Now I'm going to jump up to verse 40. As the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, and besides being known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, America is also known as spiritual Sodom, as pursuant to Revelation 11, verse 8, which I don't have to explain why America is known as spiritual Sodom. What did Donald Trump just say? We got to get rid of the madness and show that there's only two persuasions, the male and the female. So, as ancient Babylon was overthrown with fire and brimstone from the sky for its lewd and disgusting, acts, this modern day spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah is going to be overthrown with that modern fire and brimstone for those very same lewd acts, those nuclear missiles, saith Yahweh. So shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. And this, goes to show that this also isn't talking about, ancient Babylon, which is in modern day Iraq. You got people still dwelling there to this day. When this Babylon is destroyed, it's going to be uninhabited, where man, woman, or child will never set foot on this place ever again. And after time, only desert creatures are going to dwell here. Verse 39, therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. And the former United States of America is going to stand as an eternal memorial as to what a wicked kingdom looked like, and what the punishment for wickedness was, and also what the punishment for afflicting the children of Israel was. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.